Well, it was kind of a business decision for me. I felt like with all the teams that have been inviting me to camp, I felt like this was the best decision for me long term as far as the interest I got from the whole organization, from the owner Mark Cuban all the way down to the scouts.
Yeah.
I felt like this would be the best situation for me to come to.
All right. Okay. And you guys did the trip to Europe, and how did that go?
It went great, man. You know, I went to Europe my first year overseas, and it was definitely different. You know, you got escorts everywhere. You're staying in the nicest places, and we were in Germany, which is Dirk's hometown. So you can imagine the homecoming we got there. We got red carpet everywhere.
Right.
So you know, we went from red carpet, then we went to Barcelona. And we got to go to the big game in soccer, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, and you know, we got escorted into that game. So, I mean, other than the basketball, I mean, Europe was great.
Good. And the trip for you game-wise, did you get a lot of minutes?
The first game, I was getting spot minutes, just putting me in the shoot, and I kind of figured that, you know, they got a lot of contract guys, so I knew that minutes wouldn't be as big. Then I got into the Barcelona game and happened to hit my only shot that I took and picked the ball up, showed energy, showed a lot of that stuff, and that was it. But in Barcelona was pretty much learning. Did not get that much game time.
Right, okay. And then camp itself, how was that going for you?
It was going great, man. I felt like I could have stayed all the way through. Again, like I said, business came into play where you have to, you know, follow the business instead of your heart. And because of that, I was playing really, really well in camp, and that's the reason why I wanted to stay. I was making a lot of shots. I was doing a lot of things, improving on a lot of things that the coaches felt like maybe I couldn't do before I got there. So those were the biggest things that I was doing in camp that looked good.
Right. Okay. And with some of the veterans that were there, I mean, name some guys? Okay, Dirk Nowitzki's there. Name some other guys who are there.
Vince Carter, Sean Marion, a guy named Chris Kaman, Delonte West. Those are like maybe some of the vets, and Elton Brand. The rest of the guys were young guys, maybe 2-3 year players.
Right. Okay. How did it feel? You know, some of those guys are, you know, they're longtime veterans, and you would have watched them coming up. How did it feel to be in the same locker room as them?
It was definitely it was a shock to have the same jersey on. But my first year going to China, that's when I really got all that stuff out of my system, you know, because I grew up watching stuff on Marbury. I grew up watching Redford Alston, who was known on the streets as Skip to My Lou, was pretty much the biggest thing in and one, which got me really interested in basketball. You know, the Steve Francis, people that I've seen and known, and I got to play a game with Kobe Bryant when I was coming out of college. So I kind of got all that kind of starstruck moments out a couple years ago.
Right.
So now when I came into the locker room, it was more business rather than kind of like a fan thing. So I felt like I wanted a job. So instead of looking at those guys like, you know, I grew up watching you, I wanted to show them that, you know, I'm in this league too, and I'm a pro too, and I can take your job if it's up, if you're in my position. And I wanted them to stay very uncomfortable with me around, which was a completely different mindset from 2 years ago to now.
Right. And something that you said before when we spoke was that you said that you felt much more confident and comfortable on the court because you were financially stable. Did you feel that at the camp?
Yeah, I did. You know, and a lot of the guys, I thought I was just coming out of college. You know, they may not know who I was, so they thought I was coming out of college, and you know, they were saying little things about maybe money or something like that, and some guys felt like I couldn't relate to it. And then we were on the plane flying to Germany, and something came up about cars, and I happened to have some pictures of my cars with me.
Okay.
And honestly, you know, as shallow as it sounds, once they saw the kind of cars I drive and the fact that they were all paid off and a lot of the stuff that you have owned, I got a lot more respect, once we got off that flight in Germany. People started to talk to me more about money, about their financial situations, about times when maybe they had been broke or bad investments they would have made or little things like that. And they did not tell me the first week and a half I was with them. So I think that was one of the biggest turning points.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. And then you made a decision to return to China. How did that manifest?
Well, my out clause in my contract in China is for the 20th, which is on Saturday. And the only way for me to stay past that date would be to say, hey, I'm giving the NBA a shot. And if I don't make it, then I just give up all that money that I was going to make overseas. And the way that the Mavericks were talking, it was really 50-50. I wouldn't even say 50-50. It just felt like a big risk that I wasn't willing to take for me and my family. So I just decided to say, hey, I'm just going to cut it short. I did what I wanted to do. In my first camp, I got to know what it's like to play in the NBA, to travel in the NBA, to play a game in the NBA, to score points in the NBA, put on the jersey, take pictures. So I got that first part of my goal out the way, and that's my first step. And now it's on to the next step, which is actually making the roster, playing the regular season games, playoffs, etc. So after getting that first part of the way, I felt like, I can go back to China with a clear conscience and be able to work harder and harder. And the Mavericks have given me a lot of little things I can work on to make sure that, coming back home, I can get on a team and stick. Yeah. So that was pretty much the main reason why I decided to cut it short and go back to China.